Lepo dobrodošli na panelu 4, ki bo govoril o različnih metodah spremljanja jezer v podporo trajnostnemu upravljanju jezerskih ekosistemov. Po domače bi lahko temu rekli tudi, da se bomo pogovarjali o tem, kako monitoring izvajati na tak način, da bodo od jezer imeli še vedno neki in naši vnuki in njihovi vnuki. Tako da bi kar začeli. Najprej, zvrstilo se bo vsega skupaj 5 predavanj, po 10 minut okvirno. Najprej bi se dotaknili tega, kaj je to biomonitoring. Nataša Dolinar iz ARSA bo predstavila tradicionalne pristope, moja malenkost pa sodobne trende. Potem imamo 2 gosta iz Češke, ki nam bosta povedala nekaj o pristopih ocenjevanja ekološkega potenciala na osnovi rib. Potem pa za konec nam bo gospa Anca iz univerze predstavila evropsko dimenzijo. Ona je namreč koordinatorka evropskega projekta, ki želi ustvariti akcijski načrt za zmanjševanje pritiskov in obnovo evropskih naravnih jezerskih sistemov. Zdaj bi pa kar povabila Natašo, da nam predstavi svojo prvo predstavitev. Nataša je vodja sektorja za ekološko stanje okolja na Agenciji Republike Slovenije za okolje, ki je odgovoren za spremljanje in ocenjevanje ekološkega stanja rek, jezer in obalnih voda v Sloveniji v skladu z okvirno vodno direktivo.
Hvala. Sem preverjam, to v redu deluje, se slišimo, ne? No, Tina, tole se da za naprej. Ok. Pol pa tudi pozdravljanje v mojem imenu, prihajam iz Agencije za okolje in se ukvarjam z monitoringom ekološkega stanja voda na splošno, v glavnem z rekami, jezeri in pa Slovenskim morjem. V svoji predstavitvi bom povedala, kaj kažejo dolgotrajni rezultati monitoringa, ki so osnova za upravljanje Blejskega jezera. Najprej pa nekaj čisto osnovnih zadev. Torej, Blejsko jezero je eno izmed 2 naravnih alpskih jezer, torej drugo največje za Bohinjskim jezerom. Je monomiktično, torej razslojeno poleti, pozimi pa v bistvu poteka izmenjava vode med površino in pa dnom, torej temperatura je izenačena, kar je pomembno za kroženje kisika in pa hranil. Značilno je, da je bilo z določenimi ukrepi so bile njegove naravne lastnosti v prejšnjem stoletju precej spremenjene, torej zdaj je pretok jezera malo večji, kot je bil prej, in pa zadrževalni čas krajši. Torej, pred ukrepi v 60. oziroma 80. letih je bil zadrževalni čas nekje 3,6 let, potem pa približno leto pa pol. Zakaj pa je v bistvu do teh ukrepov sploh prišlo? Torej, v bistvu so za Blejsko jezero že od začetka 19. stoletja opažali znake eutrofikacije in nekako so ta problem želeli nasloviti. Zato so v bistvu najprej razmišljali v smeri, da so povečali naravni pritok vode in speljali vodotok Radovno oziroma vodo iz Radovne v Blejsko jezero. To so naredili leta 1964, vendar s tem ukrepom še niso zboljšali stanja eutrofikacije, tako da sledil je drug sanacijski ukrep, kjer so iz globine, v bistvu različnih delov kotanj jezera speljali vodo iz zanatego ven, tako da so povečali sam pretok. Torej, problem je bil eutrofikacija, namen tega sanacijskega ukrepa pa je bil, da se iz hipolimnija v bistvu odvaja vodo, ki je bogata s hranili navzven in s tem razbremeni samo jezero. Torej, jezero je kazalo znake eutrofikacije že od začetka 19. stoletja, ko so bila značilna masovna cvetenja cianobakterije Planktotrix rubescens, to je organizem, ki ga lahko vidimo na sliki spodaj levo. Takrat je bilo jezero eutrofno, po teh izvedenih sanacijskih ukrepih pa se je eutrofikacija zmanjšala, tako da ga danes uvrščamo med mezotrofna jezera, medtem ko po vodni direktivi spada v zmerno ekološko stanje. Tako da za nas ima pa, moram poudariti, še tak en izjemen pomen, namreč sanacijski ukrepi, ki so jih izvedli v prejšnjem stoletju, so pokazali potrebo po nekem sistematičnem spremljanju in stanja, torej v bistvu, če hočeš nekaj spremeniti, moraš vedeti v bistvu, kaj se vmes dogaja, in s tem se je v bistvu začel monitoring Blejskega jezera, ko je bila leta 1975 ustanovljena limnološka postaja na Bledu. Tako da dejansko razpolagamo zdaj že za več kot 50-letnim nizom podatkov monitoringa samega jezera. No, potem pa sledil še en precej večji mejnik. Z letom 2006 je za Slovenijo postala aktualna okvirna vodna direktiva, ki pa ta prinese nek premik iz spremljanja koncentracij snovi, večinoma kemijskega pogleda na stanje voda, na ekološki pogled. Torej pri spremljanju ekološkega stanja nas pa zanimajo biološki elementi kakovosti, to so alge, rastline, bentuški nevretenčarji in ribe, ki odražajo v bistvu nek celovit pogled na v bistvu samo stanje voda, ker integrirajo različne obremenitve, kot so eutrofikacija, hidromorfološke spremembe, onesnaženja in podobno. Cilj vodne direktive je doseči dobro ekološko stanje voda in osnova vrednotenja so biološki elementi kakovosti, ki odražajo dolgoročne razmere v nekem vodnem ekosistemu. Metodologije, ki so se razvile po vodni direktivi, so v bistvu interkalibrirane, kar pomeni, da so znotraj podobnih ekoloških tipov med različnimi državami preverjene, da kažejo podobno stanje. Predpostavka je, da se ekološko stanje oceni po najslabšem elementu kakovosti, tako da vodno telo ne more dobiti boljše ocene, kot je v bistvu njegova najslabša ocena. In če ta ocena ekološkega stanja voda ni dobro, je potrebno z ukrepi nasloviti tako vodno telo, da se stanje izboljša. Torej, v bistvu, ko delamo biološke elemente kakovosti, ko izvajamo monitoring vrednotenja, se moramo zavedati, da različni biološki elementi odražajo različne pritiske oziroma dajo različne odzive na same obremenitve. Torej, za fitoplankton je znano, da se zelo dobro odziva na hranila, za makrofite in fitobentos recimo že kažejo malo bolj lokalne vplive samih hranil pa degradacije zaledja. Podobno bentuški nevretenčarji, ki se odzivajo na hidromorfološko spremenjenost obale, tudi rabo zemljišč, onesnaženja. Nek najbolj integriran odziv pa dajejo ribe, ki se odzivajo na v bistvu praktično cel spekter pritiskov in to v najdaljšem časovnem okviru. Namreč biološki elementi kakovosti se odzovejo lahko tudi različno hitro, manjši organizmi se na neke spremembe odzovejo takoj, večji organizmi pa v bistvu zato potrebujejo lahko več sezon, let ali pa tudi desetletja. In to, v bistvu ta kombinacija teh odzivov in teh časovnih zamikov so v bistvu ključne informacije za samo upravljanje. Zdaj bom pa šla že kar na same rezultate monitoringa. Torej, zamejila sem se na obdobje 2009 do 2025, ko so ti rezultati nekako najbolj primerljivi. Na drsnici so prikazani fizikalno-kemijski parametri. Od teh, ki jih spremljamo, recimo lahko izpostavim tukaj fosfor in pa prosojnost, ki se nekako, v bistvu, torej koncentracije fosforja izboljšujejo, torej znižujejo, sama prosojnost pa se povečuje, tako da nekako z neko previdnostjo lahko govorimo o izboljšanju stanja. In podobno sliko daje tudi element fitoplankton, ki se v bistvu odziva na ta hranila in potem v bistvu pomeni tudi samo prosojnost. Tako da z neko previdnostjo v bistvu se izkazuje trend izboljševanja stanja, se pa potrebno zavedati, da je v bistvu stanje po fitoplanktonu na vsa leta praktično zmerno ali pa zelo blizu meje med dobrim in zmernim in je v bistvu med leti tudi precej variabilno. Torej, lahko, da gre za neke spremembe v obremenitvah, da se pač mogoče obremenitve s časoma povečujejo ali pa zmanjšujejo, lahko gre pa tudi za neke naravne spremembe in dejansko skozi daljše časovno obdobje gledano, trenutno še ne govorimo o tem, da je na podlagi fitoplanktona v bistvu jezero v dobrem stanju. Potem imamo pa biološke elemente v litoralu jezera, torej na obalnem pasu. Fitobentos in makrofiti so tukaj izpostavljeni v bistvu od leta 2014 po bolj primerljivi metodologiji, nekako v zmernem stanju, mogoče z rahlim trendom slabšanja. Še bolj pa to velja za bentoške nevretenčarje, ki so bili v bistvu na začetku mogoče monitoringa še tam na meji z zelo dobrim stanjem, no zadnji rezultat je pa že precej v zmernem ekološkem stanju. Tako da sploh ta rezultat pa prejšnji v bistvu nakazuje na neke večje pritiske v samem zaledju, v posameznih območjih Blejskega jezera, tako da tudi to je treba upoštevati recimo potem pri nekih ukrepih za izboljšanje stanja. No, najkrajšo zgodovino monitoringa imamo seveda na podlagi rib. Do sedaj na vseh teh podatkih v bistvu lahko rečemo samo, da stanje je zmerno, zanesljivo. Zakaj je takšno stanje? V bistvu ribe kažejo, združba rib kaže velik odmik od referenčne združbe rib. Torej, v sami združbi, ki jo zdaj dobimo z vzorčenjem, se vidi veliko odstopanje pri tem, da v bistvu je malo zastopanih domorodnih vrst rib, kot so kleni, tudi ni njihovih juvenilnih, v bistvu mlajših osebkov, tako da to kaže na neko slabšo razmnoževalno uspešnost, pa hkrati je tudi veliko prinesenih ali pa tujerodnih vrst rib. Torej, vsi ti rezultati, letni rezultati monitoringa se potem v bistvu združijo, se naredi neka sinteza za namene načrtov upravljanja z vodami. Tako da se po obdobju, po 6-letnih obdobjih, v bistvu podatke tudi strokovno preveri, interpretira in podobno, in to so tiste ocene, ki so dejansko najbolj relevantne za samo upravljanje. Tako da za vse te načrte upravljanja z vodami, torej tudi za zadnjo oceno, lahko rečemo, da je pač ekološko stanje jezera dejansko zmerno. Torej iz vsega tega pa želim izpostaviti nekaj ključnih sporočil. Eno je, da je ekološko stanje Blejskega jezera zanesljivo zmerno po vodni direktivi, da vplive človeških dejavnosti dejansko odražajo vsi biološki elementi kakovosti, potem, da se različni biološki elementi kakovosti odražajo različne vidike jezerskega ekosistema in se na okoljske pritiske odzivajo z različno dinamiko in časovnim zamikom. Potem, da je odziv jezerskega ekosistema na obremenitev in sanacijske ukrepe lahko počasen, lahko je nelinearen, tako da svarim pred nekim vrednotenjem stanja oziroma rezultatov od leta do leta, ampak večjo vlogo v bistvu imajo same obdobne ocene oziroma trendi. Torej za neko izboljšanje in ohranjanje recimo boljšega ekološkega stanja Blejskega jezera bo ključna kontinuiteta, torej ne samo monitoringa, ta sklepam, da je zagotovljena, ampak tudi ukrepov in pa razvojnih politik. In pa pri vsem, kar s čimer se Blejsko jezero sooča, se sprašujem, če v bistvu lahko odgovorimo na vprašanje, čemu bomo dali prednost, ko bomo pač jezero uporabljali in razvijali naprej. A bomo dali v bistvu pač prednost ribištvu, turizmu ali pa mogoče naravi. Tako da, to pa je z moje strani vse. Hvala.
Je mogoče kakšno vprašanje za Natašo? Kdo kakšno misel, komentar? Če ne, bomo kar nadaljevali. Aha.
This sama smuča pa jezerko, to so štiri super predaze. Vi pa veliko pravcev zaradi zmanjševanja krena je kvaliteta vode slaba. To je jaz bil svetlov, da se tega lotimo na imenujemo tančen način z mogoče novejšimi metodami, z genetiko.
Tako, prva prilika bo že jutri ob 8, kjer je organiziran sestanek na to temo, tako da se stvari bodo razčistile in prvi koraki sledijo temu srečanju danes. Zdaj pa nadaljujem. Še eno vprašanje imamo?
Treba je drugače začeti. Imate pa prvo poročilo iz leta 1952, to je natanko 74 let, če sem prav zračunal, v katerem jasno piše, kako bi bilo v prihodnje potrebno z jezerom upravljati, če želimo ohraniti stanje oziroma ga izboljšati. Leta 52. To so bili profesor Sampel, pa Unis, profesor ne vem kdo še vse. In poslušajte, na prvem mestu je bila kanalizacija. Če ste se pripeljali sem, dobili ženski, videli, da je na novo asfaltirana cesta ponovno prekopana, ker tam so gotovili, da še vedno ni kanalizacije in zato je zdaj spet semafor. Torej, kanalizacija, po moje edino jezero alpskega prostora, ki nima zaprte kanalizacije. Drugo, na tega, ki bi odpeljala odvečne koncentracije fosfora in ostalih zadev, preprosto rečeno hipolimnijsko vodo, bogato z hranili, ki se kljub vsemu še letno mešajo z gornjim delom in ustvarjajo tiste, kot ste, Nataša, vprosim Nataša. In bogati seveda vse tole skrbili. Druga zadeva je bila tretja paradova. Ker se tiče na tega ni bil zaključek. In zato so stalne težave s to na tega. Prvi tekel do jezernica so se pa tožili mlinom, ker je nasmrdelo povsod po stanovanjih, zdaj smrdi nižji dol,
te podatki mogoče v bodoče malo bolj skup spravijo, zato da se lahko postavi tudi nek upravljalski model in da se pomaga potem pri upravljanju. No, kar se tiče pa tudi tega ušivca, to smo pa tudi imeli priliko videti, da ušivc dela ogromne težave dol vodno, ne. Se pravi, ušivc, tisti razbremenilnik pod čistilno napravo razbremenjuje tudi takrat, ko ni padavin. Skratka, del kanalizacijske vode teče, zdaj ne govorimo o jezeru, ampak pač dela težave v kanalizaciji. Če bi se ga dalo spraviti v jezero ob ustreznem monitoringu, ne, če bi prišel do neke kakovosti, potem bilo to vsekakor dober ukrep. No. Ampak to sam, recimo, urediti podatke za to, da se lahko suvereno upravlja s celotnim porečjem in potem z jezerom.
Jaz moram še malo komentirati. Zdaj najslabši pokazatelj stanja je biološki element kakovosti ribe. In tukaj zdaj sicer super, ampak ne vem, zakaj na ARSO nas bolj skrbi, da se ribe ne razmnožujejo kot pa ribiče, moralo bi biti verjetno obratno. Ko pa gospod Prednar skozi govori o celovitem pogledu, res na ARSO merimo, ocenjujemo stanje na podlagi podatkov, ki ga imamo, nimamo pa tega finančnega vidika. Ne? In vlaganje rib samo z finančne koristi pač ne doprinese k boljšemu stanju jezera.
Hvala za...
Eno stvar vam povedal, jaz imam stalno občutek že teh 45 let dejansko, da nekomu stanje paše. Kdo je to, dajte raziskati? Jaz ne vem, a so to blejci, a so blejčani. To so dve kategorije ljudi tukaj in se treba vprašati, kdo je tisti, ki mu to paše. A ti veš?
Ne, jaz, Mitja Bricelj, pa se tudi geograf, pa tle smo imeli študentske meritve leta 80, profile in hipolimni do vsega, kar sedimentov. Podatkov je toliko, da verjetno redko kjero jezero jih ima toliko, drugo je pa v sistematiko ureditve teh podatkov in njihova raba in management. Kakorkoli, stroka je tukaj, kakor hočete, visoko razvita in je enako ali pa boljša tudi kot avstrijska in tako naprej. Drugo pa je, kako komuniciramo za to, da bi stanje izboljšali. Stroka, lokalna skupnost, država. Vse ni drugega. In Blejci, se ste slišali, pa gospod župan bi tukaj mogel biti, ne, na to temo se ves cash flow, oprostite, je iz jezera na Bledu, ne, in ikona Slovenije je Bled, ne, in ekološko stanje na Bledu je, če hočete, moneymakerstvo, a ne, ki zasluži, da se nek majhen delček v to vrača, dobro stanje in menedžiranje. In zakaj tega nismo zmožni, ker je profesor Toman tukaj navedel napake, vsi vemo, da je kanalizacija perforirana, pa ne zaključena, vsi vemo napake na nategi, vsi, tisti, ki imajo malo pojma, kako sistem funkcionira in vključno z pomanjkljivostmi dovoda vode iz Radovne. Pač in seveda, da ni tretirana voda, ki bi z natege, če bi delovala, bi bila morala biti tudi tretirana, preden se izlive v Savo dolinko. 4 točke. 4 točke je sanacijski program za izboljšanje stanja. Pod tisto točko, ki je Nataša pokazala. 4 točke. In kdo bo naredil kaj, je akcijski program. Jaz predlagam, če ne drugi, ne, da so zaključki tega sestanka, da te 4 točke uvrsti župan na en, če ne občinski svet, pa naj prevzame to nekdo drug, civilna iniciativa zaradi mene ali kakršnokoli, zakaj pa ne turistično društvo, in predlaga, da na podlagi debate tukaj predlagamo obravnavo teh 4 točk, da bi prispevali čim prej k izboljšanju stanja in odgovornem ravnanju z Blejskim jezerom. Hvala.
Ja, vsekakor, zgodba je že zelo dolga.
Gospod Weber tukaj, ki je bil dopoldan. No, vidite, ne? Predsednik turistične, torej ne zveze društva. Ta manjka. Župan manjka. Njegova tajnica manjka. Kdo je od občine Bled tukaj? Ali se lahko vprašam? Pa nadaljujem.
Bomo zdaj šli naprej, pa bomo lahko na koncu še nadaljujemo, ker drugače nam bo res zmanjkalo časa, ker smo že dobili zamudo na začetku. Debate bodo sigurno še naprej, ker to je nekončana zgodba, kot smo slišali, že zelo dolga je, pa zgleda še bo, ker ni druge poti, kot da komunicirajo različni segmenti med sabo in se končno nekaj naredi. Ja, pač, to bo zdaj odgovoril moj naslednji slajd. Jaz bom nekaj probala zdaj malo bolj na hitro povedati o tem, kakšni so pa sodobni pristopi. Se pravi, Nataša je pokrila te tradicionalne, kam pa zdaj nekako zadnje 10 let, 15 let pa gre znanost v katero smer. Zdaj, te dve sliki nista una igrca, najdi 5 razlik med levo in desno, ampak sta dve skrajnosti nekih idej. O tem, da se vse zradira, vse zabetonira, vse mora biti čisto, do tega pustimo, da se vse zaraste, pa bo vse najbolj prav. Seveda v realnosti iščemo neke kompromise, vedno, ampak kar se pa meni zdi pomembno in kar hočem pa danes v teh 10 minutah povedati, je pa, da vedno, kadar neko ukrep ali pa rešitev hočemo narediti, moramo zraven narediti tudi oceno učinkovitosti. Ja, vedno je treba nekako zmeriti, ali to, kar smo naredili, ali je bilo učinkovito, ali gre tja, kar smo hoteli, ali ne gre. Sam zato, ker smo dali nekaj zelenega, še ne pomeni, da je to učinkovito. In seveda pri vsakem ukrepu se vprašamo, kaj hočemo, kakšen ima zdaj ta vpliv, ali to je bolj zdaj za ljudi, ali bolj za naravo, ali kako bomo zdaj zmerali, v kakšnem stanju pa je nek jezerski ekosistem. In v splošnem lahko to razdelimo zdaj na dva segmenta. Eno je tradicionalno, to je lepo razložila prej Nataša, pač na osnovi ekološkega stanja, na osnovi vodne direktive. Drugo je pa mogoče malo bolj sodobno, kjer pa ključno vlogo igra beseda biodiverziteta. In seveda te pristopi so različni med sabo. Nataša je že vse razložila o tem delu, imamo 5 izbranih bioloških elementov, imamo podporne fizikalno-kemijske, imamo podporne hidromorfološke, medtem ko so pa sodobni pristopi pa zgrajeni čist na enih drugih temeljih. Jaz sem jih danes razdelila na dva predalčka in sicer ki jih lahko gledamo oddaleč. Zelo popularni so razni avtomatizirani senzori, recimo v Švici imajo na velikih jezerih neke take plavajoče laboratorije, kjer je noter pretočni citometer, kjer poslika vsak dan celo fitoplanktonsko združbo, sonde, ki na 10 minut merja vse parametre fizikalne, kemijske in to se skozi nalaga nekam na neke oblake. Zelo so v porastu droni pa hiperspektralno slikanje tudi z avionov, kot je una slika čisto desno. Zelo najbolj daleč stran, ker lahko pogledamo iz vesolja, to počnemo s sateliti in pol obdelujemo te podatke. In druga skrajnost teh sodobnih metod je pa zelo od blizu. Ne toliko od blizu, kot je organizem blizu, ampak čist blizu, v esenciji vsake celice v dednem materialu, v DNA. Tle je pa zelo popularna ta okoljska DNA, e-DNA, zelo popularno je metabar kodiranje, različne vrste PCR-jev, kvantitativni PCR, digital droplet PCR, kar hočete, sekvenciranje, skratka nekaj na teh genih. Tako gre to lahko v detajle, da lahko gledamo samo en gen, recimo en gen, ki dela neke toksine ali pa nekaj. Tako da to so pa res metode zelo od blizu In ta DNA, ki jo mi izoliramo iz nekega okoljskega vzorca, vsebuje noter seveda vseh teh 5 skupin, poleg tega pa še tudi veliko drugih, ki se jih pa do zdaj ni upoštevali. Recimo mikrobne združbe je zadnja desetletja porast nekih dokazov, kako mikrobi so tisti ta prvi, ki se odreagirajo na funkcionalnost cele populacije v jezerskem ekosistemu in seveda v tej DNA najdemo tudi rastline, ki so ob vodi, najdemo živali, ki smo jih pričakovali, najdemo živali, ki jih sploh nismo pričakovali, najdemo tudi DNA od človeškega izvora. Skratka, 10 na 7 vrst ocenjujejo, da najdemo v eni flaški, ki jo vzamemo iz enega jezera. To je res nepredstavljivo več podatkov, kot jih dajo tradicionalni pristopi, in zato pač ne gre brez superračunalnikov. Te podatke treba obdelati, zelo popularna je pač ta strojno učenje in artificial intelligence, modeli zgodnjega opazovanja, zato ker lahko tudi napoveduješ, lahko integriraš različne podatke, fizikalno-kemijske, meteorološke, vse lahko skupaj pripeleš na eno mesto in nekako na ta način skušaš monitoring izboljšati. To je samo 2 primera, imam tlele prikazana. Eden je iz Anglije, ko so v eni reki s pomočjo DNA analizirali, kateri organizmi živijo v zgornjem, srednjem in spodnjem toku. Potem pa je tukaj še en primer iz Nemčije, kjer so več kot 20 let zbirali sedimente iz različnih rek po celi Nemčiji in potem so jih po 20 letih analizirali in kot vidite tamle na desni so lahko potem točno določili, katere ribe so že izumrle, to so tiste rdeče od spodaj, in katere ribe so prišle na novo, da so se pojavile na novo, to so one zelene desno zgoraj. Skratka, s to sodobnimi pristopi se res da delati nore stvari, niso pa seveda to metode, ki ne bi imele pomanjkljivosti. Vsaka metoda ima prednosti in omejitve, recimo tradicionalni monitoring ima prednost to, da je standardizirana metoda, da ima dolgoletne časovne serije, da je lahko direktno ekološko stanje zmerimo, zakonsko priznani so kazalniki in tako naprej in tako naprej. In tudi seveda sodobni monitoring ima svoje prednosti, recimo visoka občutljivost za redke invazivne in kriptične vrste, to so tiste, ki so morfološko podobne, genetsko pa so različne, zgodnje zaznavanje sprememb v združbah in ekosistemih, imajo zelo veliko prostorsko in časovno ločljivost. Če si predstavljate satelite, to lahko res nore dimenzije zaobjame hkrati. In tako naprej, res ima veliko prednosti. Ampak seveda tudi vsaka od metod ima slabosti, recimo tradicionalni monitoring je časovno in kadrovsko kar zahteven, je odvisno od taksonomske ekspertize, kot veste, vsi laboratoriji po Evropi imajo to šalo, da ko se spremeni operater, ki določa organizme, se spremeni tudi biodiverziteta in včasih ni tako smešen, ker včasih je tudi malo res, ker pač to so ekspertize, ki so vezane na človeka in ko nekdo pride na novo, nima toliko izkušenj, da bi lahko to čist identično izvajal naprej. Recimo, ne vem, visoki stroški terenskega vzorčenja za ribe, invazivno lahko in seveda tudi sodobni monitoring, čeprav tako izgleda, da ima več prednosti, ampak nima več prednosti, ima tudi več slabosti. Recimo, še vedno je omejena standardizacija enih metod, regulativno še ni polno razvita, je bolj podporna, zelo težko dobimo abundance in biomase, ker pač to niso take sorte podatki, odvisnost je od kakovosti referenčnih baz, skratka, polhen enih težav je in polhen enih prednosti je. In to ni, če bi me nekdo vprašal, katera metoda je zdaj najboljša, kaj ni delamo, to je tako, ko bi te nekdo vprašal, kateri avto je zdaj najboljši. Ja, ne vem, noben avto je najboljši, a misliš najhitrejši, ne vem, mogoče Formula 1, ampak za na njivo bo pa traktor boljša. In zdaj ni ideja, katerega pristopa se bomo mi držali, ampak v prihodnosti se pač znanstvena skupnost zavzema za to, da bi pobrali najboljše od obeh svetov, da bi dobili nek hibridni avto, ki bi nas pripeljal v službo, pa mogoče še na morje. Ampak seveda za specializirano še vedno ostanejo formule pa traktorji, ampak mi pa hočemo najboljše od obeh svetov dati skupaj, zato da bi res lahko delali dober monitoring. In pač pri sodobnem monitoringu je ta biodiverziteta ta ključna metrika, ki nam nekako pove, v kakšnem stanju je sistem. Ker lahko si predstavljate v eni združbi, kjer imamo zelo veliko različnih organizmov, je taka združba veliko bolj odporna na spremembe, ki pridejo, ker lahko vedno več populacij zauzame neko pozicijo, za razliko od sistema, ki je pa zelo osiromašen, ki ima pa recimo same rdeče nitke, pa sem pa tja kakšen drug organizem, tak sistem se bo pa težje prilagajal na spremembe. In zato so pač večja biodiverziteta običajno pomeni bolj stabilen in odporen ekosistem in to pač, to je pač, ni več vprašanje, a je to tako, ampak je bilo pač zelo velikokrat dokazano. Zdaj, kaj lahko naredimo, je to, da vsakeč, ko smo zraven, ko se govori o nekem ukrepu, da se spomnimo tudi na to. Aha, ja, ampak biodiverzitete pa ne bomo merili, kaj se pa s tem dogaja, ko bomo to naredili. Tako da to je sigurno nekaj, pri nas na Inštitutu za biologijo se trudimo biodiverziteto, ukvarjati z biodiverziteto cianobakterij. To so namreč ratejo problematične, če se zelo namnožijo, recimo zgleda tako ali pa tako, tamle vidite eno znano stavbo, v kateri smo zdajle. In večino nas skrbi to, da pač imajo cianotoksine, pa lahko so vpleteni v onkološka, nevrodegenerativna obolenja in vse to, in to nas v glavnem skrbi, tudi kakšen pes lahko pogine, pa tako. Tudi celo nacionalno platformo Cianoslov smo naredili, da ljudi obveščamo in jih hočemo v tem poučiti. Zelo malo nas pa skrbi to, da je v takem sistemu pride do drastičnega znižanja biodiverzitete. Pač tak sistem včasih tudi ribe pogine, včasih tudi tako, skratka drastično se zaradi takih pojavov zmanjšuje biodiverziteta. In zdaj, zakaj da biodiverziteta sploh tako pomembna, zakaj jo tako upevamo, razen tega, da so taki sistemi veliko bolj odporni. Dva vira, taka zelo znana, sta izračunala, da je približno 1 milijon vrst že ogroženih z izumrtjem in ta drug vir pa prav, da se je populacija prostoživečih vretenčarjev zmanjšala za okoli 73%. Skratka, s to biodiverziteto se nekaj dogaja. Ko gre enkrat populacija v smeri izumrtja, se ne more več vrniti nazaj in zato so pač to kar pomembni podatki. Meni je zelo všeč, kako je en gospod to narisal. On je rekel leta 2020, ko vsi se spomnimo, kaj je bilo, je narisal tole in rekel, to je bila moja najbolj objavljena slikca, ki sem jo kadarkoli narisal. In potem leta 2025 je narisal tole. Tako da ja, biodiverziteta ni nekaj, kar je samo za tiste, ki se na to spoznajo, ampak je nekaj, za kar bi mogli vsi, ki se kadarkoli odločijo za kakršenkoli ukrep v nekem okolju, ki lahko rezultira v vodah, je pač to izjemnega pomena. Tako da ja, moje sporočilo za domov bi bilo, biodiverziteta je pomembna, pomembno je tudi, da jo zmerimo z neko kombinacijo sodobnih in tradicionalnih metod. In hvala, ker vam je mar za vode, ker če vam ne bi bilo, ne bi bili tukaj. Kakšno vprašanje mogoče? Kratko? Ne? Drugače pa zdaj napovedujem novega predavatelja, in sicer Jiří je direktor Inštituta za hidrobiologijo v okviru Biološkega centra Češke akademije znanosti, trenutno osredotočen na razvoj ribjih združb v novo nastalih jezerskih ekosistemih, ki nastajajo pri sanaciji nekdanjih površinskih kopov lignita. Jiří, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for my invitation and introduction of myself. Actually, I would like in my talk to share our experiences with developing and using an ecological status assessment tool for Czech reservoirs and lakes. But first of all, I would like to remind you that since 2000, it's already more than a quarter of century, we have legislation in European Union that is called Water Framework Directive. And the primary goal of this directive is to achieve and maintain good ecological and chemical status for all surface waters, and very similar goes also for groundwaters as well. And what is very important is that the Water Framework Directive requires all the EU member states to monitor, assess, and finally improve the condition of their water bodies. There was already two deadlines, 2015, then 2027, and let's see what will be the third deadlines, because the goals will definitely not be met. The Water Framework Directive evaluates ecological status using three groups of quality elements: hydromorphological quality elements, physicochemical quality elements, and finally biological quality elements. These biological quality elements are probably the most important. For lakes, for standing waters, because we related our reservoirs to conditions here in Bled, or Bled lakes, phytoplankton, macrophytes, benthic invertebrates, and finally fish are used. Why these four groups? It's quite easy, because these are organisms reflecting very well environmental conditions, and even in the past, before the Water Framework Directive, they were quite heavily used for or to monitor ecosystem health and human impacts as well. And further, I will talk only on fish. As fish ecologist, I will try to convince you why fish are the best, but there are several really compelling reasons. For example, fish are mobile organisms, so this is valid particularly for rivers. They very well indicate habitat connectivity or presence of barriers. Also, their lifespan is very long, so they integrate environmental change over many years. They are also extremely sensitive to environmental changes. Nowadays, we have several problems, like several stressors. One of the most important is eutrophication. But it's quite easily to select species among fish that are very well indicators of eutrophication. For example, perch and pike usually decline with eutrophication. On the other hand, other fish species, like those typical indicators of eutrophic and hypertrophic conditions, are perch, roach, and bream that are often dominating the fish communities under such conditions. Another issue is climate warming. Again, there are fish species that which are very well indicative of these changes, like practically all salmonids, particularly Arctic char, or from other species, barbot. All these cold water stenotherms decline with warming together with eutrophication. And another issue is this littoral habitat loss. It was presented in the presentation that was previously predecessing my presentation. So particularly those phytophilic species who deposit eggs on macrophytes are declining with littoral habitat loss, or juvenile community is usually declining because the juveniles need well-developed littoral areas for hiding and feeding. And on the other hand, again, those typical tolerant species like roach and bream are often dominating when littoral habitats are simplified or even lost. Another very important fact is that fish are positioned in the highest level of the trophic pyramid. This is extremely important because based on their biomass, based on biomass or differences in biomass of different guilds of fish, they can have a completely opposite effect on the whole ecosystem. So, for example, if you have high biomass of piscivores, which is on the right side, so right there, then you will have low biomass of zooplanktivores. Under this situation, there will be high herbivory done by zooplankton, and finally, there will be very low biomass of algae, and the ecosystem will end with in a clear water state with a lot of macrophytes in the littoral areas. So the nutrients will go through this littoral trophic chain. On the other hand, if there is a low biomass of piscivores, which is on the left side, then you will have huge biomass of zooplanktivores. Then the herbivory done by zooplankton is very low, and finally the biomass of phytoplankton is huge. So their system will look like here. So heavy algal blooms and systems not really well suited for recreation, for example. Another benefit of fish is that they are very well studied, and fish are relatively easy to identify the species, much easier than for some groups of macroinvertebrates or, for example, algae. And there are also another fact. They are very important because of their socio-economic value. There is definitely a lot of people that are interested in fish, not only commercial fishermen, but also recreational fishermen. Sometimes their activities are in pair of other goals, like recreation. On the other hand, mostly they are in contrast with other goals, like another ecosystem services, for example, recreation. So, within the Water Framework Directive, there is very easy metric that is used for assessments. It's called ecological quality ratio, and it compares observed biological conditions with those that would be expected under minimally disturbed reference conditions. The value of this EQR ranges from 0 to 1, and based on categorization, we have 5 classes: high, good, moderate, poor, and bad. It was already mentioned. But the way to have this EQR is not that easy. You have to go, first of all, you have to classify the water body. Based on morphometry, size, altitude, region, hydrology, you have correctly defined the type of the lake. Then you have to define the expected fish community, so the reference conditions. Then what comes in play is to observe or compare the observed fish community. So evaluate or survey the current state. Within this step, it is important to define metrics that will be related to your stresses. And finally, the final step is to evaluate the deviation. So from the deviation between the observed and the reference state. I will not, so the reference conditions are extremely important. There are practically two ways how to get these reference conditions. The easiest way is if you really have the real lakes with low or no anthropogenic disturbance, or really valid historical data. If not, then you have to extrapolate, use statistical prediction based on typology and expert judgment. The way how you survey the lake is not easy as well. There is a lot of methods that can be used for surveying fish communities, but for these surveys, if they should be comparable across Europe, you really have some standardized methodology. The two that are mostly used for these assessments are gill netting and electrofishing in littoral areas, in littoral habitats. The benefits of gill netting are that it is the passive sampling method, so it doesn't need much activity. You have to deploy the nets, that's it. Another benefit is that you can deploy them to every depth, every habitat except the very shallow one. Therefore, the electrofishing, which is combined with gill netting. But there are also negatives in most of the cases, the gill nets are lethal to the fish. And I will not go into very much details, but the very important step is to really find metrics that are in good relationship to your stressors. Example from Czech Republic, we developed this Czech Fish Biotic Index, and what the index is using is total fish biomass in different parts of the reservoirs, total fish abundance, then relative biomass of indicative species. For our conditions, these are common bream, ruff, European perch, rat, and salmonids, and reproduction is evaluated based of presence of young of the years of 6 species of fish. And now to the results for Czech Republic. In Czech Republic, we have 3 types of standing waters. The most common are ponds. We have approximately 24,000 of ponds. These ponds are used for carp production, so these are heavily disturbed systems in most of the cases. We have very little of natural mountain lakes, only 5. These 5 lakes are located in Šumava National Park, and all are fishless. Their biological conditions were disturbed by acidification. So what remains are reservoirs. We have 165 reservoirs, from which 47 are used as drinking water supply reservoirs. And I will only show the results for one watershed, Vltava River watershed, and only for 11 reservoirs for which we have more assessments than only one. So to explain the picture in different colors, you can see the different reservoirs. Here, very below, this is the poorest condition. On the very top, it's the highest condition. So here you can see the 5 categories. And what is the message? So in more than half of the reservoirs, we have worse than good ecological status. The goal is to have at least good in our waters, but none is really the worst, the bad. In more than 60%, we can observe declining trend over the years. So the Water Framework Directive started a quarter of century ago, but the trend is declining, not improving. And in 1/5 of the reservoirs, the decline is down a category. So in most of the reservoirs where the status is declining, it is within the category. But 1/5, the decline is down a category, and these are particularly the reservoirs, these two. This one and that one, that were evaluated as the best. So also the decline is only in 1/5 of the reservoirs. The best evaluated are declining. So to summarize, the EQR is really a useful assessment tool. It provides standardized comparison in time and over systems. That's the highest benefit. It also helps to identify the pressures. It supports long-term monitoring and trend analysis. And what is really important, it helps to link the scientific outputs with management decisions and to facilitate communication with public and policy makers. Because, and I'm returning to the very beginning, what is the goal of Water Framework Directive? It requires EU member states to monitor, assess, and improve the condition of their water bodies. And as you may see, this goal is definitely not met, or at least not in Czech Republic. So at this place, I would like to kind of encourage you to take really wise decision and all your courage to implement it, to preserve your Bled Lake, which is a kind of European jewel, and that should be the message. Yeah, and I will only announcing that we definitely have ways how to improve the state, at least of the fish communities. Only the courage is, or actions are not enough taken, and this will be the presentation of my colleague Tomáš Jůza, and I'm open for questions if there will be any.
Potem pa napovedujem, Tomáš je vodja oddelka za ekologijo rib in zooplanktona na Inštitutu za hidrobiologijo na Češkem. Njegova glavna področja dela so ekologija rib, učinkovitost naseljevanja plenilskih rib, metodologija spremljanja rib in ekologija invazivnih vrst. Tomáš, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Tina, for introduction. Today I would like to continue to talk about water quality because, as you know, because of eutrophication and climate change, to keep at least the same water quality as we have now will be a big challenge. And today I would like to tell you if the biomanipulation is a useful tool for improvement of water quality in different water bodies. I would like to show you the same slide as you could see in previous presentation. It's very important because to understand what's going on. As Jiří said, to keep the good water quality in reservoir or lakes in surface water body, it is necessary to support the phytoplankton community, which is eating on zooplankton, and the water is clean. So there are two possibilities how to manipulate the trophic food web to improve the water quality, or there are three. The first is supporting of predatory fish. The second are direct removal of zooplanktivorous fish, and the third, probably the most effective, is combination of both. The best way is to support the zooplanktivorous fish, and if you have the tools how to do it, you can remove the biomass of zooplanktivorous fish. This is so-called top-down direction because you are manipulate the system from top, from the predatory fish to phytoplankton. Of course, there is another very important direction which is so-called bottom-up direction, when especially the nutrients decide about amount of phytoplankton, and when the loading of nutrients into the system is high, you are practically not able to do anything with the water quality from the top-down direction. So today I would like to show you the results of the simple results of 2 our projects, which were focused on improving of water quality. The first project will be focused on relatively big reservoir system, and the second will be focused on the water improvement in Bolevecký pond in the city of Plzeň. The city of Plzeň is probably the most famous of it's very good beer in the Czech Republic, but in Plzeň there is also Bolevecký pond. And in this pond we tried to improve the water quality, and today I would like to show you if we manage it or not. The first project, as I said, was focused on a reservoir. It was focused on the Římov reservoir, which is a relatively big reservoir, about 200 hectares, maximal depth about 43 meters, mean depth 16 meters. So you can see that it is a relatively big water body. The water quality is priority there because it is a drinking water supply for most of South Bohemia region, and also for České Budějovice, from the town we come from. And these reservoirs are for these reservoirs there are typical the gradients of especially nutrients, chlorophyll and fish decreasing from tributary to dam, and of course water transparency, which is usually the highest close to the dam. And the biomanipulation effort which we did there was a significant reduction of fish stock in this reservoir. How we reduce the fish? The first and very effective methods were fike nets. When we installed such a large fike nets during spawning migration of especially cyprinids fish, and we were able to catch a large amount of especially these unwanted zooplanktivorous fish into these fike nets. Second method was electrofishing during spawning, especially when breams are spawning, using of booming boats with electroshocker is very effective, and you are able to remove a relatively large amount of fish when the fish are aggregated in the spawning places near the shore. And the third and very effective method was adult trawling. When we used 2 boats trawling, we towed the nets through the open water of the reservoir, and we were able to remove quite amount of especially breams from the reservoir. To show you how many fish we removed during 2 years, 2021, reservoir, from the Římov reservoir. You can see in the slide, I'm not sure if you can see it, we removed almost 78,000 of unwanted fish species, which were dominated especially by bream, bleak, and roach. In biomass, it was more than 12 tons of fish. So when we recalculated it for the area, we removed almost 60 kilograms of fish per hectare, and the majority of biomass was represented by bream. To show you what was the removal, how our removal was displayed in the community, the white boxes is situation before biomanipulation. The dark one is after biomanipulation, is for bleak, bream, and also for gillnets, and also for hydroacoustics. And you can see that according to our estimates, we removed more than half of fish abundance and biomass. According to hydroacoustic observations, it was about 80% in abundance and 74% in biomass. So you can see that we managed to remove really significant amount of fish from relatively big reservoir. And what was the reaction of the reservoir? Here you can see 4 parameters of water quality and the reaction of these parameters on fish removal. You can see that here you can see the average, for example, the first slide, the first figure is average water transparency, which was about 2.5 meters. And here you can see the deviation from this average in before biomanipulation, during biomanipulation, and after biomanipulation. And you can see that there was practically no increase of water transparency. The best water transparency was before biomanipulation. Very similar was it also for total phosphorus. There was the lowest amount of total phosphorus was before biomanipulation. The only parameters which reacted according to our expectation was decrease of chlorophyll A, which decreased significantly after biomanipulation. But the reaction of zooplankton was not according to our expectations. You can see the zooplankton abundance decreased after biomanipulation. Of course, we expected increase because of reduction of zooplanktivorous fish. One explanation of the decrease of zooplankton could be here. You can see that the year 2020, when we removed the fish, was the year with the highest amount of young of the year fish. So our removal of fish biomass immediately started the system, and the empty niche was immediately filled by the new generation of fish. So the year 2020 was the record year, and of course the young of the year fish are significant zooplankton eaters. So this probably significantly mitigate the effect of biomanipulation, so the rejuvenation of the system. So the main findings from the reservoirs are that using the hide fishing effort, you are able to remove significant amount of fish, but improvement of water quality parameters after fish removal was not observed. As I said, we immediately observed the boom of young of the year fish after removal of large biomass of fish from the system. One probable reason why the biomanipulation was not successful is that this large reservoirs have relatively big catchment area, so they are endowed with a large amount of nutrients, which mitigate the top-down biomanipulation effort. And of course, a lot of nutrients is deposited in sediments, so especially during summer anoxia, the phosphorus are usually releasing from sediments, and it is available for primary production, which of course mitigate also the effect of biomanipulation. The second project I was talking about is the pond in the city of Plzeň, in the beer city. And in this city, a relatively big pond, not so big as a reservoir, it's about 40 hectares, but it's shallow, the maximal depth about 4 meters. And this pond is very important for the city of Plzeň because it's, I think, from the beginning of the 20th century, was very important recreational place for the city of Plzeň. So always very big stress was given to the good water quality in the pond. At the beginning of 20th century, the water quality decreased significantly. There were significant cyanobacterial blooms, low transparency, high turbidity. The recreational fishermen were operating on the pond, and of course, big amount of nutrients were given into the pond with the feeds. And therefore, in 2006, the project to improve the water quality started also in these ponds. The first step, again, was removal of zooplanktivorous fish, so we used especially the electrofishing to remove the unwanted zooplanktivorous fish. We also used the night beach seining. This method was also very effective for fish removal. The last fishing event in this pond was in 2006, I think, the fishery competition, which was focused especially on removal of carp and grass carp, which were previously stocked into the reservoir. And after this competition, the fishing was completely forbidden in the pond. Here you can see the carp, the pond was full of these carps and grass carps, and of course we started to support the population of predatory fish, so especially the Welsh catfish and pike and pipers started to be stocked into the pond. The second step, how to improve the water quality, was supporting of macrophytes in the pond, because previously the macrophytes were completely destroyed by fish activity, especially of the grass carps and carps. So there were such nets and cages to protect the macrophytes in the ponds. And of course, some nutrients-binding coagulants were used to fix the phosphorus in the sediments. So especially PAX 18 polyaluminium chloride was used to fix the phosphorus in sediments. So you can see that quite high effort was given to improve the water quality in this pond. And how was the reaction of the system? Here is the situation 6 years later in 2012. Very nice water, very good water quality, a lot of macrophytes. You can see that all parameters of water quality improved. The water transparency increased to sometimes 3 times. Chlorophyll A concentration decreased significantly, the same with phosphorus. And the amount of cyanobacteria also decreased practically to 0 at the end of the project. So, of course, when the water quality increased and the water transparency increased, the macrophytes started to develop. So you can see that from very small numbers of macrophytes, they started to grow very quickly. And then when you want to use the pond as a recreation pond, the macrophytes are not very welcome, because this stage is not good for swimmers, for yachters. So the only solution was that the managers of pond have to buy such a harvester. So now the whole summer, such a harvester is operating on the surface of the Polevecký pond to remove the macrophytes, which are very common there. The macrophytes are given to the shore, and of course with the macrophytes a lot of nutrients are removed from the pond, and then the biomass is taken away to composting. So the findings which we found in much smaller system in comparison with reservoirs, we can say that in smaller system than reservoirs is in pond, the biomanipulation could be effective, especially due to the smaller catchment area and not so high nutrients input into the water body. What is necessary is continuous monitoring of fish, because you have to keep the good balance between predatory and zooplanktivorous fish to keep the good water quality in the pond. And it is important to say that the project ended in 2013-14, and now we are still monitoring the pond, and the water quality is very good there. Of course, it is necessary to remove the biomass of macrophytes, but the water quality keeps in a very good stage. What is not usually very popular in such formally fishermen localities, that improvement of water quality is usually connected with complete ban of fishing. Of course, macrophytes are very important in such systems. Here is also the difference with reservoirs. It is very difficult to develop macrophytes in reservoirs because water level fluctuations and things like that. So this is also the reason why we were successful with biomanipulation in pond and not in reservoir. As I said, as the water became more transparent, it is necessary to remove the macrophytes because they start to grow and the recreational function of the pond is limited. And of course, very often it's necessary to use the nutrients binding coagulants to keep nutrients binded in the sediment and not to be available for the primary production in the pond. So that's all. Many thanks for your attention, and if you have any questions, welcome.
Povabila našo zadnjo govornico. Sorry. Yeah, of course.
So in the pond we use three measures: biomanipulation, macrophytes, and coagulation.
Yes.
So do you have an estimation which of these measures were more successful?
I think at the beginning it was these coagulants, because I think it's very important to keep the phosphorus in the sediment. And I think that coagulants were last time used in 2018, something like that. Then the macrophytes developed very quickly, and now the majority of these nutrients is removed in the macrophytes body. So.
I'm asking because it's difficult then to conclude that biomanipulation is more successful in ponds than in large reservoirs because you don't have direct comparison. And then another question is, why did you use aluminum-based coagulant and not iron? Because aluminum is more toxic.
It was decision of the managers of the pond, so I don't know this exactly, but there were no diet of fish. I think using of aluminum was not a problem in this system. So.
Thank you.
Okay. Pa gremo zdaj na zadnjo prezentacijo, ki nam jo predstavlja Anca. Anca je koordinatorka projekta Horizon Pro Clean Lakes, kjer smo v Sloveniji vključeni tudi z občino Bled, LIMNOSom in NIBom. In ona je kot koordinatorka tega projekta vodja kemijskega laboratorija na Inštitutu za sanitarno inženirstvo in nadzor onesnaževanja voda BOKU Univerze na Dunaju. Anca, floor is yours.
Good afternoon to everyone. I'm very happy to be here in Bled. For me, it's the fourth time when I'm in Bled, so I like very much this city. And I was also very happy when Bled applied to be part in our project, and I said I would like to have this lake in our project. So, as Tanya said, I am the coordinator of Procrin Lakes project, which is one from the 4 projects we call sister project. They were funded by EU for protection and restoration of European natural lakes. It was a big challenge to find some natural lakes, European natural lakes, and another mandatory, it was to have a surface bigger than 1 hectare. So this was very challenge to find these lakes. The call in which Procrin Lakes it was an innovation action. It was on mission restore our ocean and seas and waters by 2030, and as I said, it was not a research and innovation, only an innovation action. So in our project we are 18 partners from 11 countries, from different, you can see, from different parts of Europe. Also with different background, university, research institute, SMEs, NGOs, and also a public company. So I don't want to read this, you can see. The main output of this project is to be able at the end to have an action plan and guidelines for a long term. So that means after the project will end, the project is on 4 years, start in 24 and will finish in May 28. But after these 4 years, to be able to have guidelines and an action plan for to restore and to protect the European lakes as much as possible. And of course, when I say lakes, I am thinking not only water, I'm thinking ecosystem. So we have water, sediment, fauna, and flora, but all this is or will be possible having together researchers, but also citizens, stakeholders, and users. I don't want to go for this. I think you are much more interested in practical work and to read these specific objectives. How we design our project. We have 3 demonstration lakes from different parts of in different locations, so climate zone with different problems. We have one demonstration site from Greece, which is Triconis Lake. We have the second demonstration lakes, which is Brateș Lakes from Romania, and we have the third demonstration lake, which is Langvanet from Norway. How we see, so these 3 different demonstration sites in different climate zone and stressed by or affected by different pressure and stressor will be restored based on nature-based solution. And I will let you know later on which are our plan or the plan in the project. First, so Triconis Lake is one of the largest lake in Greece. You see a very huge area with very maximum depth, 58 meters, which is quite depth. Water temperature is between 4 and 25 degrees, and is a lake that is protected. And this, there are a high biodiversity, endemic species of birds and fishes. But the lake is not so dirty or not so polluted, only because on the shore there are small villages with agriculture and farms, and most of the pollution comes from nutrients and from olive oil mills. So that means from olive oil preparation, there are some higher concentration of organic compounds like polyphenols. Of course, not only trichonis is affected, but by climate change. We know now that most of the lakes or the environment and climate change produce the water abstraction and the biodiversity loss. What they are planned, because in our project we have a partner that is specialized in nature-based solution design and implementation. It is Alchemia Nova from Austria, and together with Triconis Lake leader, they design nature-based solution that fit to the problem and also to take in account that this is a protected lake and they cannot do what they want on the activities, I mean, on the lake. So they design a medium-sized raised-wide ponds based on microalgae that they cultivate and isolate in the laboratory in Athens University, and they transfer this algae in a big device, to say, near the lake, and they pump the water inside, and they will test it for a long term to see the absorption of some metals or some contaminants on this algae, and after we analyze the water and also the algae. What we are expected of this to reduce the content of some pollutants and also to improve the water quality. The second lake I already mentioned is Bratish Lake from Romania. It is near the Danube Delta, the Black Sea, and is located in the south part of Moldavia, so in Romania, not the Republic of Moldavia, and it is on the confluence of Prut River and Danube River, and it has a surface on around 21 square kilometers, and you see the maximum depth is only 2 meters. So comparing 58 with 2 meters is a very shallow lake, and Jiří can confirm because he was there to analyze and to see the fishes, and it was an adventure. Because the average water depth is around 1 meter, and if you can see here the dynamics in time, I don't want to destroy anything, it is in 100 years, it is more than 10 times. So the lake, it looks like you see in the bottom photo how the people are going very, very far on the lake. Again, the problem is, the problem are nutrient enrichment. There are some fish farms and also some villages, villages. So again, pollution with nitrogen, phosphorus, and especially with organic compounds. The nature-based solution that Alchemia Nova proposed and Bratish Lake leaders are in the phase of implementing is based on sedimentation ponds and constructed wetlands. And also they expect to improve the water quality and fish breeding habitats. They are doing also monitoring activities using this soft sensor for water quality, and also they would like to do some predictions, predict models for future. The third lake is Langvannet Lake in Norway, so very, very in the north part of Europe. We were last August there, and these are some photos that Jiří did it on the lake 1 week later, that after our meeting there. And here, you see, is near Sulitelma, is the village, And in this map, there are some sampling points. I'll let you know a little bit later what means this. You can see here another problem. There are some wall mines, and with a very, very small stream that flow in the river, and in some points of the lake there are problems with heavy metals. They are in a higher concentration and with sulfate due to this acid main drainage. Of course, in Norway they have total different climate situation as in Greece or in Romania. Cold winter, short summer, so free ice period you see is only from mid of August until end of September, and a lot of snow. Yeah, we were last year from 25th of August, and I was dressed with clothes that usually I wear in Vienna in winter, so it was full. They have, the proposed nature-based solution are based on two parts. First, to rise a little bit the pH, because in some area the pH is 2, 3, so very, very acidic, taking account for water. And the second part to do this horizontal subsurface constructed wetlands. I don't want to give some details because they are in progress now, so we don't know which will be the results. Because in the proposal we put some values that after the nature-based solution will be able to decrease the concentration of some pollutants with some percentage. We are not so, we are a little bit modest. Better to improve more than to say, well, we'll do 100% and we'll be able to do only 5%. And so for the lake restoration, there are some different solutions that Alchemia Nova proposed. External solution or intake solution, or to combine these two types of solution. You can see here. So we have demonstration sites where we'll implement the solution, and we have 3 monitoring sites, which when we designed the proposal, we are thinking to find 3 lakes where already were done some activities, but in the last year not more activities. So, and we choose Fransko Lake from Croatia, Medar Lake from Czech Republic, and we have another lake from Romania, which is Zagen Lake. They are under some stressors. Always the level of water is decreasing, so it's low. The eutrophication or decreasing of biomass and of fishes, or because in the last years you have also seen that the summer are so the temperature in summer are very high. As usually long period of high temperature, also due to this higher temperatures or loss of level of water, and also algae blooms. And of course, because most of the lakes they have around villages with a lot of agriculture, a lot of nitrogen and phosphorus, so this nutrients enrichment. How we are thinking before to design and to implement the nature-based solution and to test this deficiency, we have done 2 pre-monitoring campaigns in different seasons. The first one, it was September, November 24, and the second one in April, July 25th. The leader of demonstration and monitoring lake, or the teams, they were on the lake. They sampling water, sediments, some plants on the shores, and also fishes. We prepare some protocols so that each team to do the same in the same manner the sampling. We measure on site general parameters like pH, conductivity, oxygen, temperature, and the samples were analyzed in some laboratories concerning the heavy metals, anions content, organic compounds like polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, pharmaceutical compounds, PFAS, and microplastics. After this, it was in the proposal that we have to make a competition to choose between 3 and 5 replication sites. But we are thinking better 3 because the budget was 300,000 euros, and if we have more, they will receive less. You have to be proud because they were a strong competition. There were 22 or 23 applications, and we choose 3 lakes, so Bled Lake, Emmer Lake from Netherlands, and Uluabat Lake from Turkey. These 3 association region or replication site, they have some mandatory activities to organize roundtables with stakeholders and to do the replication of the solution that will be developed in Proclean Lakes. Also, I don't want to, because I'm here to say that, but this is the reality that Alenka and her team are the most energetic and did a lot of activities. You already organized a lot of meetings. You see also today we are, Tanya organized this workshop today together with Alenka, and you will participate also in our meeting in a few weeks in Galați. Also, the other are doing some activities, but which is planned to have a workshop at next year, organized by one of the associate regions, and all associate region has to participate in a workshop to develop the solution developed by Proclean Lakes and to inform about this. What is, we have also in Proclean Lakes, we have a team that they are IT team. They prepare some knowledge hub. You can register on this, where they deliver some information about lakes, starting with, now we are 9 lakes, and after increase with other lakes, European lakes, with information that are important not only for specialists in environmental research, but also for citizens, for local communities, for research NGO and lakes managers, because I hope that now is at the beginning, we have the first or the second prototype at the end of the project to increase the information on this platform. And also, we have in the project a team that is related to the business, and they are organizing business training with for each lakes, demonstration lakes, and the people that are interested, or they are entrepreneurs or SMEs, they are interested in business in these lakes, related to lakes, they are registered and they receive this business training. And also on the platform, this is the virtual incubation and accelerator, and is also available on the project platform. What we hope that will be at the end of the project, that we will be able to develop the action plan to demonstrate that the solution that will be proposed or will be implemented, will be tested, are efficient, that we are able to achieve what we proposed or what we wrote in the proposal, and also they are also the IT team. They design the mobile-based app for the citizen, so each citizen can see on the app, be an app on the phone, some information about the project and about the lakes. We'll organize a final conference. For the moment we are thinking to organize it in Greece. And of course, this project will not be possible, or the activities, without all the people, the citizens, stakeholders, and all the people that are interested in to have nice and clean lakes. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Ja, hvala vsem govorcem. Thank you to all the presenters. Čez 5 minut se začne panel 5, kjer pa bomo se pogovarjali o tem, kaj smo do zdaj v Sloveniji že uspeli narediti. Kot ste videli v tej predstavitvi, naredili smo že 5 delavnic za 5 različnih skupin deležnikov. Zbrali smo vse njihove ideje, uricane v zemljevide, in probali iz tega narediti nek dokument, nek action plan, ki bo predstavljen čez 5 minut, tako da če vas ta tematika še naprej zanima, si lahko vzamemo 5 minut za kakšen manjši opravek in potem, kavico, seveda, coffee break nas čaka, tako da kavico in lepo vabljeni nazaj, če se vam zdi, da bi lahko kaj prispevali. Hvala lepa, da ste prišli.